So lovely to see you guys. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to our information session on Teach in Wales. So yeah, just to start off with a bit of an introduction, I'm Jackie, and as you can probably tell from the accent, I am British. I have been living and working in Brisbane though for 6 years. I've been with ANZUK UK for 6 years, and I help educators head over to the UK. And then also on the call tonight, we have Clint and Mia. So if you guys wanted to say a quick hello, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm Clint Butler, Welsh Regional Manager for ANZ UK. I've been working in recruitment now for a little over 24 years. And I opened the Welsh office for ANZ UK a little over 2 years ago, so just before the pandemic hit. So a bit of a journey we've had, but it's been a good one. It's been an exciting one. We've managed to build some really good, strong relationships with schools and local authorities, which kept our heads above water throughout the pandemic. And the relationships we built were strong, and they paid all our educators that were in long-term assignments right throughout all the lockdowns and everything. So yeah, off the back of that, we've opened a nice shiny new office here in Newport, South Wales, and looking forward to telling you all about our journey.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm Mia. I'm an education recruitment consultant for ANZ UK, and I cover a lot of South Wales at the moment. I've been in education recruitment for 4 years, but I've worked for ANZ UK for about 6 months now, so I'm fairly new, but I'm absolutely loving it. It's probably the best move over I've ever made to a company. It's been great. And yeah, I live in Cardiff. I've lived across a lot of Wales, to be honest. So I love sort of flying the flag and sort of telling people, you know, the great things that they can be doing. Yeah.
Awesome. Lovely. So just a quick overview on what we'll be covering tonight. So hopefully we'll give you a really good insight into the beautiful country of Wales, and you'll be very keen to head over there. So we'll just start off with a little bit of an intro about ANZ UK. I'm not sure how much you guys know about ANZ UK as a company, and then we'll talk about some educator stories. So some of our educators who have headed over to Wales and what their experiences are. Now we were due to have 3 Canadian teachers on the line who moved to Wales, but I understand they had something better to do, Clint, right now.
That's right. Yeah, they were all really keen to jump on and talk about their experience because they come over in October of last year and just had a great time. But they had an opportunity. They picked up some really cheap flights to Italy on Friday. So there was a bit of a dilemma. Do I jump on a webinar at 7 o'clock in the morning in Wales, or do I head over to Italy for a few days? So yeah, they've headed over to Italy. We're following their journey on our ANZ UK Wales Instagram page, so you can see all their pictures. They've been to Rome, and I think they're currently in Venice. But I think they picked up flights for about £30, which were ridiculous, so they just had to go.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I actually want to go to Italy when I head home next, so that fills me with joy that they've only paid £30 to get to Italy. I guess we'll forgive them. And then yeah, so we'll also talk a little bit about why, how and where to live in Wales, what the process is in terms of partnering with us. We'll talk about Welsh schools and the type of work we have. We'll talk about our incentives and you know, the bonuses that you get for heading over. We'll talk about compliance and what you need, what boxes you need to tick off to get over there, how we help you also in terms of setting up to live in Wales. We'll talk about our community, our Facebook group, the resources and professional development that we offer, and then obviously having 2 Welsh people on the line, we're going to give you lots of insights and local knowledge. And if at any stage that you have a question, please feel free, just unmute yourself, sing out, ask anything you like. It's yeah, it's totally interactive. So Awesome. So, okay, we'll kick off with just a little bit about ANZ UK. So I don't know whether you know or not, but we are a global agency. So we have offices in Australia, obviously in the UK. In the UK, we've got London, Wales, Bristol, and Surrey, where I'm from. So quite a few options there. We've got an office in Canada, although what we do in Canada is we actually help Canadian teachers move overseas. And we've also got an office, quite a few different offices in the USA, and also in New Zealand. So one of the great things about being a global company is that, if you want to head off on an adventure to the UK or New Zealand, and then you want to go back to Australia, we actually have a consultant that can help you on your journey back to Australia as well, and organise a position for you in Australia once your adventures are over, if they ever become over. So yeah, that's just a little overview on us. But obviously we have been through a pandemic, so you kind of probably will be thinking, what's the situation like at the moment in terms of the actual situation in the UK and in Wales. So guys that are living there, Clint, what's it like?
Yeah, well, restrictions are getting lifted every day now quickly, and the mask mandates have gone. 80%, at least 80% of the population have double jabbed, and the booster campaign is well underway, which have made some great strides towards putting us back to normal. In England, only yesterday in England, all restrictions were lifted. We're heading towards that probably the end of March, because in Wales we like to be a little bit different. We like to push against the norm, against the English. But
always
yeah,
slightly different. Yeah,
absolutely. It's great. I went to watch Wales Scotland at the Millennium Stadium last weekend, and everybody's there without masks, and the pubs are open, the restaurants are open. I don't see any different now, Mia. I don't know about yourself. Very, very little difference to pre-pandemic times, which is great news. In schools in Wales, they are still encouraging pupils to wear masks, the secondary age pupils. Primary age, not so much. That's never been the case, really. But I think that's more of a advice now, because we're in half term at the moment this week. So from next week, that's more of an advice for schools than anything else. So yeah, nut cases are dropping, hospitalizations are dropping. So yeah, really encouraging signs we're getting back to normal. And in regards to travel, to come into the UK now, if you're fully vaccinated, there's no restrictions. You just come on in. For those unvaccinated, I think it's 2 tests they've got to get, which they have to pay for. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no isolation periods or anything like that at the moment to come into the UK.
Awesome. Good news. The world is definitely getting back to normal, which is what we want to hear. And yeah, so why teach in Wales? I think, with any adventure overseas, there are some general reasons why people want to go: personal growth, career development, life experience, all of those reasons. But Mia, having grown up and lived in Wales your whole life, is that right?
I moved away for a bit, but the majority. Yeah.
Cool. So why would you encourage people to teach in Wales?
Well, I mean, I think coming from me, it can sound a bit like, oh, well, has she really been much place else? But from speaking from our educators who have come from other countries to teach here, especially those 3 Canadians that I personally have quite a really close relationship to, they say is the best decision that they've ever made. And some of those reasons we've noted down here is obviously gives you an opportunity to step out of your comfort zone. It's not completely new. You know how to teach, but try doing that in a new setting and learning a new culture and experiencing another country, especially sort of a kind country. I think we have open arms. Like, we love learning about sort of new people, and seeing people from new backgrounds, and the kids in the schools absolutely love it as well. Obviously you can progress your teaching career here as well. You can get some really good references, and sort of do with that what you will. So overseas and other sort of teaching experience is really highly regarded, sort of globally, and that UK teaching experience. So again, you can get those references for that. And the head teachers that we work with are really happy to give you those references alongside ours as well. So yeah, it's quite a good move for your professional development. And the boys and girls that we've got over here at the minute have told us that is a really big thing for them as well, the sort of development that they've got here. Also, the type of flexibility we can offer. Obviously, we do those long-term contracts, but we've the three of the boys who are in Italy right now are sort of those more secondary trained teachers, but they've done the odd day in primary and they've just absolutely loved it. Just to see, is it different here? Is it the same here? And they've really sort of experienced all the teaching that they can. Is brilliant. So we like to set up little hubs and get everyone knowing each other. Like, when people come over, we'd like to sort of set you up with each other. I'll take you out in Cardiff, I'll show you the sites, like, so you can make friends from all over the world. Travel within the UK is really easy. We have amazing systems. Travel around Europe is brilliant. I mean, from Wales we have Cardiff Airport. Bristol Airport is 25 minutes away from Newport, 30 minutes from Cardiff. So and the flights from there, they're really quite cheap as well, to be honest. So we have, again, that strong educated community, and quite a large international community as well.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. When I went back to the UK to see my family just before the pandemic, I visited our Newport office, and it was absolutely awesome. Everybody is so friendly, and yeah, it's a really beautiful place to live and to work. I can definitely vouch for that. So yeah, just in terms of, if you do want to go over there, the process is pretty straightforward. So what would happen is you would have a conversation with myself in Australia, or one of our other consultants here in Australia, and we'll have a sort of an in-depth conversation with you and go through any questions that you have. We'll then put you on the line to either Clint or Mia or somebody else actually in Wales, and they'll have another conversation with you, but all of us will stay in touch prior to you heading over there. The compliance, again, is pretty straightforward, so we help you with that. Obviously, you need to organise your visa before heading over there. We'll get to that sort of later in the presentation, but we do have a visa support service, so we can help with that as well. We'll do your registration forms, we'll do your police checks, so we'll do everything that you need to be able to start work in Wales as soon as you get there. We'll also do an online registration for you prior to you getting to Wales, but when you are in Wales, you will, as Mia said, go into the office, meet with your consultant. As you can see, we've got an awesome office there. What we're really proud of is wherever you go in the world, if you're with ANZ UK, it will feel like you could be anywhere with ANZ UK, because all of our offices and the environment is the same throughout the world. So you'll go into our Wales office, we'll make sure your paperwork is done, and then you're cleared for work, and then quite literally you can get out and start teaching. But we do also offer a lot of social events and professional development, and a lot of other things which we'll come on to a little bit later as well. But when you go into the office, you'll hear all about that as well. So, oh, hang on, sorry. That just started straight away. What I wanted to do, I wanted to say, obviously our Canadians are in Italy, but what we have done, we've had a lot of people that have made the journey and have had a really great time. So we've just included a few testimonials here, a few educator stories are very short, so I will just play them for you so you can get a little bit of an idea. It's not just us saying it. There's other educators that have done it and have had a great time. So this is Josh. Let's play Josh.
can't hear him.
You can't hear him? Oh. No, so no one can hear Josh? Okay, let me see. I'm not sure if there's a way I can fix it actually so that you guys can hear Josh, which is a bit of a shame. But what I can do is I can send the link to Josh's video to you guys. I will also send the presentation through to you guys, so you'll have all of this information. But yeah, if you get a chance, listen to Josh's story. He's from Melbourne. He's a primary teacher. He had the time of his life. Really, really loved it. Loved working with the kids, and yeah, has really positive things to say about working in Wales. So I'll send that one through to you. We've got a couple more. One is a video, but one isn't. So Lockheed, I know, Clint, you know quite a bit about Lockheed and his journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I got quite close with Lockheed when he came over. So Lockheed came to Wales, primary teacher. Well, he went to London actually as a primary teacher. He heard we opened the office here in Wales, and through his love of rugby, was really keen to come up and meet the team. So Lockheed come up, and I'd arranged. I was at a head teachers conference actually, and I was talking to a head teacher there and telling them about Lockheed coming up to Wales and his passion for all things Welsh and sport. And they said they were having an Australia Day in one of the schools in the deepest, darkest Welsh valleys. So these kids have probably never seen an Aussie before, unless on Neighbours. So you can imagine a 6'4" Australian rugby player going into this primary school. The kids were just in awe. He was like a film star going in there. So he had the day of his life. We've actually got a video of it somewhere that I'll share with you guys, of Lockheed's day in the school, and all the kids come up dressed in their Australia getup, and he had a phenomenal day. And ever since then, Lockheed couldn't wait to get back to Wales and teach more. So yeah, you know, I know Lockheed's gone back to Canberra now, I think, but I still in touch with him and talk to him regularly. And yeah, every time he meets someone, he goes on about his time in Wales. So yeah, it's, you know, it's a really, as Mia said, we're a really inviting country. Our new Welsh curriculum is all about new cultures and, you know, educating our children on the big wide world. So it's ideal for overseas educators, a perfect time for them to come over.
Absolutely. And then we do also have a video on Tilly, and I won't play it because as much as I want to, you guys obviously can't hear it, and I'm not technically savvy enough to work out how to do that. Unfortunately, it's beyond my skills. So but the lovely Tilly is actually Clint's partner, and yeah, she has some really good insights to share on Wales. So I'll also send that through to you. But yeah, it's really, she's talking about her passion, isn't she, Clint?
Yeah, so Tilly's a teaching assistant. She's been doing it now for a bit over 10 years. So prior to ANZ UK, I worked for another company, and that's where she started her TA journey. And then obviously when we opened here with ANZ UK, she came over and started working with us. So Tilly works as a support staff. She works with children within a mainstream environment, but kids with additional learning needs such as autism, ADHD. And yeah, she's talking about her passion for working with children, supporting in the classroom, but also her love of Wales and what she loves about living here as well. Tilly's a fluent Welsh speaker, so we've also got some videos of some hints and tips for very basic Welsh, which will be handy in the classroom, such as hello and goodbye and please and thank you, which is probably about the limit that you need to teach in Wales, which is probably one of the questions that you've got, but we can certainly help with those little bits as well before you go into the classroom.
And I think just little things like that, being able to say hello and goodbye goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the schools, the majority of them are English medium schools, but even though it's English medium schools, there is that element of Welsh that's buzzing around the school, but it is the very, very basics. Good morning, good afternoon, please and thank you.
Definitely. Mia, did you go to a Welsh speaking school?
No, I can do hello, goodbye, and good evening.
Fab. Yeah, so what we thought we would do, I guess most people would have these general questions, and if you have any other questions, please do unmute yourself, speak up, and shout out. We're happy to answer any questions whatsoever, but we just thought kind of like the top 3 frequently asked questions. Do I need to learn and speak Welsh? So I guess we kind of answered that question. Hey.
Yeah, absolutely. So no is the answer to that. However, it would be handy to get that grasp of the basic Welsh, which we can help you with. We've got a number of online courses, and it's very, very easy. I mean, the 3 Canadian lads that recently joined us, they knew absolutely no Welsh the first day they went into a school. And they were just picking things up along the way. And as I said, they're English speaking schools. It's just that little bit of elements of Welsh. They might have welcome up on the wall in Welsh and a few little things like that, but nothing at all to worry about, and we can certainly help with that. There are Welsh speaking schools, but for obvious reasons we won't be putting any of you into Welsh speaking schools unless, of course, you can speak Welsh.
Absolutely. And I guess the curriculum, we know that the English curriculum is very similar to the Australian curriculum. Would you say that that's the same with the Welsh curriculum? What's the difference between Wales and England?
Yeah, so the bones of the curriculum are very similar. So we follow the National Literacy and Numeracy Framework, similar to England. The difference of the new Welsh curriculum is that it's a much more holistic approach to education. So there's a real emphasis on personal and social development, well-being, cultural diversity, knowledge and understanding of the world, physical and creative development. So this is what really excites me at the moment for what we do with ANZ UK, our injection of overseas talent coming into our schools is exactly what the Welsh curriculum is all about. It's all about educating our children to be better human beings, to think for themselves a lot more, and to understand the world. And the world doesn't revolve around Wales, that there are other cultures out there. So it's really, really important that overseas teachers are coming to Wales.
Absolutely. And in terms of getting paid, is that the same in Wales as it is in England?
Really exciting at the moment, and over the last 2 years, I would say, Wales has taken the lead on teacher pay, particularly on supply. It's the highest basic daily supply rate in the UK in Wales at the moment, because there's a Welsh national framework around supply teachers that guarantees a minimum daily rate of £141.72, I think it is, a day, which is £1.72 higher than London, which is phenomenal considering that the cost of living in Wales compared to London. So coming into Wales just as a daily supply teacher, you're guaranteed a fairly decent rate of pay, especially when you consider the cost of living in Wales as well.
That's awesome. Very, very exciting. Okay, so you probably want to know as well, what are the location options for Wales? And we thought, Mia, you would be best placed to let everybody know where we operate, where we can offer work, and what it's like to live and work and go out drinking and eating in our places. So yeah.
Yeah, I do know how to drink and eat in Wales, to be honest. So basically, yeah, so our office is in Newport, that is the newest city in Wales. It's pretty much known for its amazing music scene back in the day. At the minute, it's progressing and to be a little bit different. There's a few like little sort of micro bars and breweries opening up, which is fantastic. It is also quite a cheap place to eat and drink. You can get a really good meal here for 2 people, say mid-range bottle of wine, 45 quid, pounds, and a pint and beer, you know, most pubs are sort of around that £2.50 mark, which you can't go wrong for that. So if you're looking for a flat or something like that, you can live here for about, say, £250 a month for a room. But if you're looking more for a 1 to 2 bedroom flat, you're looking around the £700 mark. I mean, you could go cheaper than that, but that's sort of, you know, for a good location, lovely flat, 700 quid, you're fine. So Wales, I got the Newport, I got the train from Cardiff to Newport this morning. It took me 10 minutes. So they're 2 cities, but they're incredibly close together. Drive-wise, you can do it in about 25, say 30, 35 in traffic. Cardiff, so after I went to uni, I never lived in Cardiff, I'm from the Valleys, but after I went to uni, and then I moved to England for a bit, did the whole London thing, and moved back, I got a flat with my friend in Cardiff, so it's probably been the best 2 years of my life. It's just amazing. So being the capital city of Wales, there's so much culture. It is modern, thriving and cosmopolitan. I live on the street by the Millennium Stadium, now called the Principality. So I'm above a bar. I'm above some of the best music venues in Cardiff. I walk out on match day and the street is full. There's police horses. There's, you know, the buses turning up with the players. It's amazing, but it's still small enough that you really get a sort of a community feel as well. I could easily take myself to a cocktail bar on my own after work and I would know people in there and, you know, get chatting. So yeah, there's amazing places to eat. There's a really sort of independent food and drink thing going at the minute. We're sort in Cardiff, sort of moving away from chains, and you know, there's more sort of those really small sort of restaurants and stuff, which I love personally. So Cardiff is a tiny bit more expensive, but it's not. It is, the cost of living is completely fine there. So again, you're looking at sort of that £250 per month for a room in Cardiff, around £800 a month for a 1 to 2 bedroom flat in Cardiff. I mean, me and my friend we're paying, because we're moving out this week, £755 a month for a 2 bedroom flat in that like prime location of Cardiff. So that's more than doable, and it was more than comfortable for the both of us as well. So the day-to-day costs, a pint is a little bit more expensive, but it's nothing too dramatic. You also, you know, we've got a choice of a lot of different types of pint in Cardiff as well. So the more sort of chilled out one, we've got a really good sort of cocktail bar scene as well, but it's more sort of about £4. The meals, food-wise, you're seeing the same as Newport. But we do cover sort of the whole of South Wales. I'd sort of up to about mid Wales at the minute, but we do, you know, if there's anywhere you're open to living or anywhere in particular that you'd like to live in Wales, we will definitely have some sort of relationship with the schools in that area. So, you know, I think it would be completely fine. Just let us know your options. I would probably suggest maybe looking maybe around the cities, like first, make your initial move to a city and sort of, you know, sussing out the transport links and things like that. And then once you get a really sort of understanding of, you know, how it all works, it's really quite easy. Then sort of moving and branching out, but again, that's completely up to you. And if you want to go and live in the valleys, I can tell you exactly where to go. So we've had a few people come over and work in Swansea. Swansea's lovely. It's got a really good sort of university, and what comes with that is quite a good scene as well. It's got amazing beaches. The Mumbles and upwards in West Wales are some of the best. I think they've been voted some of the best beaches in the world. They're absolutely gorgeous, and the walks around them are amazing as well. Amazing views. But yeah, we're not even right now. We're not far from Swansea, really. I'd say, Clint. So it's all pretty well interlinked. But again, you're looking at the same sort of rent costs there and the same sort of day-to-day costs there as Newport. But as I said, regional locations. That's more sort of what we're calling sort of the valleys. I don't know if you know, but like Caerphilly, Torfaen, Rhondda and Taff. That's where it gets really quite cheap. The transport links are really good into the cities as well. From there is where I'm from. I'm from the Rhymney Valley, Beautiful walks, absolutely gorgeous. Really good mountain biking scenes and sports scenes. Really good running as well, especially sort of like the trail running and things like that, which I used to be into, not so much anymore, but you know, there's a really good scene for that. Beautiful walks up the Brecon Beacons. We've got sort of Perevan, and then further up we've got the waterfall country, and really affordable accommodation up there. Lovely little villages scattered through it as well. We're looking at really cheap rent costs up there. You can get a house for £600 up there, maybe even cheaper. And again, the rooms are about £250, and you can get some really stunning locations there around some really lovely people. So again, a pint of beer is sort of £2.50. I think you could probably go even cheaper in the valleys. I think my local was £1.70. I think you can get a pint of Carlin in there. So
Wow.
you'll do all right. And a meal for 2 people in mid-range restaurant, again, sort of around that 45, but I'd add a bottle of wine for that as well. So
And I guess just to kind of put that in perspective a little bit as well, like in London, you would be paying, you know, £600 a month for just a room in London, and then probably about 1,800 a month for like a small studio. So that's kind of, you know, perspective of the price differences in terms of accommodation. And as you said, Clint, you know, Wales being the best payer currently, then you're 4 quid's in.
Well, the story, Philippe, one of the guys from Canada who come over, those two of them shared a flat in Cardiff Bay, so overlooking the bay in Cardiff. Amazing location, huge 2-bed apartment in an old warehouse that have been converted. They had an ensuite bathroom each, and it said he works 3 days and it pays his accommodation for the month.
Wow,
So
that's
he's
crazy.
he's balling at the moment. He's over in Italy spending the money.
Yes, it's it might change in the future, but at the moment
Who
it's
knows?
yeah, it's fantastic. And then yeah, I guess we thought we would talk a little bit about what you can do when you're living in Wales, in this beautiful country. I know that I was shocked to know that you can actually see dolphins in Wales. I think you told me that, Clint.
Yeah, we went down to Newquay in West Wales on holiday a few years ago, and we're down. It's really small little beaches, probably about 200-300 meters long, each of them little coves. Really spotlessly clean, lovely sands, and we were sat there with the family, and everybody just started running towards the water. So didn't have a clue what was going on. So we followed them down, and there was a pod of dolphins, literally 30 meters off the beach, just bobbing away there. So yeah, they are
Beautiful.
there, and they are, as Mia said, some of the best beaches in the world down around that way.
Yeah, beautiful pictures. What do you think, Mia?
yeah, I spend a lot of time in West Wales, to be honest. I go for quite a lot of weekend trips, especially sort of around the Pembrokeshire coast and Tenby. And you know, in the summer there's paddleboarding, you know, you can go out swimming in the seas. And you know, I'm not much of a surfer, to be honest, but we've got those really good surf beaches as well, especially up and around Tenby. I think one of those, I've posted it on my Instagram. One of those has been voted one of the best surf beaches in the world, which is something that not many people would expect. But yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And if you did want to follow the Instagram, I will do my best to update it with as many of my pictures from around all the sites as possible. I also love mountains. I love climbing mountains. And the Brecon Beacons, you can get lost there for a day. And it's
Does it have one of
absolutely
the highest mountains in the UK in the Brecon Beacon, I think?
well, yeah, one of it would be Perevan, yeah. And then obviously if you go into North Wales, which you can get there pretty easily, there's Snowdonia. So
Yeah.
I think when we were putting this together, I didn't even realize that stat at the top there. You're only within an hour of any point in Wales of the coastline, which I didn't know, and I've lived here nearly 50 years.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And stunning pictures, and even more stunning in real life when you actually see it. It's yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, so in terms of what we can offer you work-wise, if you are a teacher, We can support you from early years right the way through to the end of secondary education, and also leadership positions. So really kind of like the full range. We've got the key stages there, so you can go back and have a look about what age ranges or year groups are in the key stages, and how that corresponds. And then we also offer roles to support staff, so teacher aides. There's quite a lot of options available for teacher aides, so you could work literally from early years all the way through to 18 years old. We have positions available in special needs schools. We have positions available in PRUs, which are pupil referral units, so they could be schools which are working with students who might have really challenging backgrounds, and it's about developing relationships with them. We also have work available just in general regular classrooms for teaching assistants. In the UK, a cover supervisor works in a secondary school, so the same as a teaching assistant, but in secondary schools they're called cover supervisors. So there you'll be in control of the class, giving out the work, making sure there's no problems there. And then in primary schools we also have options for higher level teaching assistants. So correct me if I'm wrong, but they will have done an additional qualification to a teacher aide to become a higher level teaching assistant. But then also we have, sorry, did you want to say something, Clint?
No.
Okay, good. All right. And then in addition to that, yeah, we have roles available in admin in schools. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of schools that contact us and ask for people to work in the office. We have work available as technicians. So you could work in the school as a science technician, food technician, or even in the sort of like textiles, wood in section. And then we also have roles available as groundkeepers. So if there's anybody you know, any friends that are wanting to sort of head over to the UK, it's worth kind of mentioning to them that we can support teacher aides or other type of jobs as well as teachers. And then I think I kind of mentioned, the types of schools, so pupil referral units, special needs schools, or SEN as they're called in the UK, nurseries, infant schools, co-ed and single-sex schools. So both of those types of schools. We work with private schools, independent schools, faith schools. So if you do have a particular faith that you follow and you want us to try and find a school that aligns with that, we can certainly have a look into that. Community schools and borough council schools. Was there anything that you wanted to add into that, Clint?
No, just that at the moment there's a real shortage of educators in the UK, especially in Wales at the moment off the back of the pandemic. Local teachers there's a shortage of, but because of this new Welsh curriculum, there's even a higher need for overseas trained teachers at the moment, because they fit really well into this new Welsh curriculum. So I know our overseas teachers that we currently got, we're getting requests for these people on a personal level, 4 or 5 different schools a week. So as I say, a lot of our overseas teachers, they want day-to-day sort of supplies. So they want the flexibility of being able to have a Friday off for a long weekend, which is great for us at the moment, because we have such a high supply need across Wales, but also those long-term opportunities are available as well. So we're eagerly looking to. We've got a number of ambassador contract placements, which we'll talk to you about in a bit, but we've got a number of those available for overseas trained teachers. And yeah, pretty much at the moment, any role within a school setting there's a shortage for. So it's an ideal time for anyone to come and secure work.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, I guess in terms of the type of work, because every educator wants, something different. You might want supply teaching, or you might prefer to do a long-term contract, or you might want to work permanently within a school. So in terms of that, we have all of those options available in Wales. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. As I say, there's a huge need for daily supply at the moment. There's high levels of sickness, absence in schools, vacancies they haven't filled yet, so they'll use people on daily supply for that. As I said, the overseas piece is really, really key in Wales at the moment because of the new Welsh curriculum. So as I mentioned earlier, your daily supply rate, you're guaranteed a minimum of £141 a day. We can offer an umbrella rate, which again, I'll go into a bit more detail with you, which can go up to about £155 a day for daily supply. And then long-term assignments where perhaps you're covering long-term sickness, maternity, perhaps they're struggling to fill a vacancy, so they'll take somebody on long-term, full-time supply cover. You can normally negotiate a slightly higher rate then in line with your teacher pay scale, because you'll be doing additional responsibilities such as marking, planning, prepping. And then there are permanent contracts. So if anybody's looking to move to the UK fully and want to secure a permanent contract, then we can help with that as well and set up Skype interviews prior to coming over and those type of things. So as I mentioned earlier, it's just that perfect storm in Wales at the moment for educators coming over. You know, if you want to work in school, anything from, we've got catering assistant vacancies, we've got caretaker vacancies, we've got admin vacancies, everything up to head teacher roles. So, you know, ideal time for anyone looking to come over.
Awesome. And then, as you've mentioned already, we've got some really, really good bonuses. We offer a relocation bonus, our ambassador bonus, which you touched on briefly, but I don't know if you want to talk through the bonuses and the pay methods and how we work with an umbrella company as well. I'm not sure, a lot of people may have not heard of an umbrella company and what that is, but I know that it works well for our educators, our overseas educators in Wales.
Yeah, so I'll touch on the umbrella company. I won't go into too much detail because there's quite a lot to go into. So if anybody, you know, really keen to come over, I can go into more detail further on. But the ambassador scheme is pretty much a guaranteed pay scheme. So perfect for people coming over looking for daily supply. So for example, we guarantee you 5 days a week. If you're available for those 5 days and one day we don't offer you work but you are available, then we'll still pay you for that day if we don't find you work, which is really handy. You know, you're guaranteed to, if you're up and ready to go, that you know how much you're going to get every single month. But you've also, within that ambassador daily supply contract, you've still got the flexibility of saying, I'm not available Thursday and Friday this week. That works really, really well for those who are looking to explore the UK and Europe and take those long weekends. We've got a number of ambassador contracts available for people this year, and that'll continue well into next year. For those coming over, we offer a couple of relocation bonuses as well. So if you do decide to sign an ambassador agreement with us prior to coming over, when you do come over and complete 60 days, you will receive a £250 bonus from ANZ UK. If you do agree to a long-term placement with a school, then after the first term, I believe, you get a £500 bonus as long as you've accepted that long-term contract prior to coming over. We can increase those relocation bonus if you do sign up to the umbrella company that we use, a company called Edward Thomas. They also more than match our relocation bonuses as well. So with an umbrella company, you're paid the same. So you're paid PAYE, so your tax and national insurance deductions, but there is a cost of operating through an umbrella company. And I think it's about £12 a week. And off the back of that, you get a full contract of employment. You get sick pay from day one. They got a suite of discount vouchers for coffees and cinemas and things like that. And then also they offer 2 bonuses as well, relocation bonuses. So even if it's just an ambassador bonus, if you work with ANZ UK through Edward Thomas, you get an additional £300 bonus after 60 days. And then a further 90 days, you get another £300. So you could get about £1,200 in relocation bonuses. The other positive of working through an umbrella company. You get to claim back a lot of your relocation expenses. So a bit complicated, which is why I won't go into it now. But basically, you can offset your tax for flights, for your move over, for accommodation, initial accommodation to get you started. Any costs of your relocation, you can actually offset the tax up to £8,000. So a real big benefit of working through an umbrella company. You can't do as much of that on PAYE, which is why we offer the umbrella company option as well, which again, too much to go into at this time of night for you guys, but happy to talk to anybody about this in more detail if you decide to make the move.
Awesome. And then also you get a reimbursement if you were to use our visa service, which is $99. You get $50 reimbursed of your admin fee if you were to take one of our ambassador contracts. So that's good to know as well. And then I guess this bit, I think from the educators that I speak to who are heading over, finding somewhere to live is one of the things that gives people the biggest level of anxiety. And I think really for us, we just want to let everybody know that it's not as horrible or stressful as you know, you first think. What we say to everybody is really just to book an Airbnb or a hostel or a hotel initially for the first couple of weeks. Reason being, you really do want to see the place with your own eyes. You might be sharing if you decide to share, and if you were sharing, you'd want to meet those people that you're going to be living with. You know, you just want to make sure that the pictures match up to what the place looks like in real life. You know, if it says it's close to a train station, then it really is, and all those type of things. And you know, we say that because it is pretty easy to find somewhere when you are in Wales. You know, you literally, there's a lot of Facebook groups you can go on. We've got a couple of websites there, Rightmove, Spare Room. Those are pretty good ones to go on and find somewhere to live. So yeah, those, and we're always happy to help and offer advice. You know, if you were to say to Mia, what's this area like? What do you reckon about this place? Then she will always give you an honest opinion. And you know, we can help in that aspect as well. And then getting around, yeah. So I would say that public transport is pretty good. Would you guys agree with that for Wales?
Yeah, absolutely. The public transport's great. I mean, again, Wales is a great base for anybody. You could, from Newport or Cardiff, you can get to Bristol in half an hour. You can get to London in an hour and 45 minutes on the train. You can be up in the Midlands and Birmingham, which is great shopping, within an hour. And then flight-wise around Europe, you're talking a 45-minute flight to Paris, an hour to Spain and northern Italy, and you know, it's just so accessible. It's that gateway to Europe, really, and Wales is a great starting point to go from.
Definitely, absolutely. And when you're living there, you know, other options, you could get a bike. I know a lot of people choose that option, and just, you know, walk if you wanted to. But if you're in regional Wales, if you're in the valleys, then you probably will need a car, and cars are pretty affordable. Hey, you could get a cheap car pretty easily.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know a lot of people tend to hire them for the weekend because, you know, you can hire a car for about £30 a day. So it's not a lot. If you're living in regional Wales, I would recommend getting a car. You know, you're going to be saving on accommodation. You're going to be a couple of £100 a month cheaper than living in the city. But then, you know, you are going to be better off to jump in a car then to go places.
Yeah. The transport links are there, but it does take you a little bit longer to get from A to B in the valleys than it does in the cities.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And all this information we have in our area guide. When I email through this presentation, you can actually just click on this and it will be in this area guide. So yeah, lots of information that we can provide for you just to make your life very easy. And so when you get to Wales, what do you need to do? This is just sort of some basic information. We like to overload you with information so that you have everything and you're not feeling that you're lacking in any way. So things in terms of like bank accounts, you will need to wait till you get to the UK before you apply for your bank account. We kind of recommend HSBC and Monzo. You don't have to go through them, but we can certainly help you in terms of setting up your bank account. We can also help you in terms of organising your national insurance number. So a national insurance number is basically like your tax file number in Australia. You can follow that link that we've got there and it can give you more information about it, but we'll set you up with one of those as well. In terms of your mobile phone, there's lots of different contracts for mobile phones when you get over to the UK. So we do recommend giffgaff, which is a pretty good one, but you can get a SIM for literally £10 to £25 per month, so nice and cheap. I think we've also said there 3 Mobile. I remember 3 Mobile very well when I was in the UK. That's another good provider that you could get your mobile phone with. Some you can actually get your SIM card before you arrive, but again, it's not a big deal. You can do it nice and easily when you're in the UK, and these are all the fun and exciting things that you'll do to set yourself up when you get there. In terms of transferring money, obviously you will potentially need to do that from your Aussie account, and what we've done there, we've just put some options for you, all the different ways that you can actually, or different banks or companies that you can use to exchange money. Personally, I've used OFX before to transfer money both ways actually, and they are super great. Always have really good rates, very secure, but any one of those methods will work well in terms of transferring money. And then we've also just got a little sign up there about the NHS. So for anyone that didn't know, we do have a reciprocal healthcare agreement. So the National Health System will cover you when you're in the UK, in Wales. So you won't need to get private healthcare insurance. If you need to go to the hospital, if you need to go to the doctor, that will be free. We've got concessions on prescriptions. You will, if you need an ambulance, that will be free. As far as I'm aware, you can also go to the dentist for free as well in some providers.
Yeah, you can with some NHS providers. I think prescriptions are still free in Wales as well at the moment.
Yeah, they're free in Wales. There's a slight charge in England, but it's still free in Wales. But yeah, then even if you do have to pay for dental care, it's super cheap, to be honest. I think I paid like £9 for a checkup.
It's amazing.
So it's slightly subsidised by the NHS.
That's great. A lot more expensive here in Oz. I should get all my dental work done when I go home. So yeah, and I love the NHS. It's awesome. So very similar to our Medicare here in Australia, and like I said, that's reciprocal, so you won't need to get an independent travel insurance if you are traveling overseas from the UK on holiday. Then that's when you might want to sort of Google travel insurance, and there's lots that come up, and you can get that for very cheap as well when you're traveling around Europe. So that's the only time you will need your travel insurance. Sporting affiliations and the clubs that we work with. So yeah, kind of exciting here. Clint, did you want to talk about some of the sports clubs? I know anybody that loves rugby will love Wales, so, and vice versa.
Yeah, so we're building a community at the moment with a lot of the sports clubs around us. So we're currently in talks with Newport Gwent Dragons, which are a Premier League team here in Wales, and they have teams at all levels, from youth teams right up to the senior team, women's teams, and a really inclusive club as well. They've even started up an autism training school as well, which is really exciting to see. So we're working with Gwent Dragons at a high level of rugby, but then we also work with regional rugby teams as well and football teams. We're in talks with a netball club as well currently in Caerphilly area. And for any budding cricketers out there, we're in talks with Glamorgan Cricket Club as well about working in affiliation with those at all levels. So yeah, we are building that community. As I said, we've been in Wales for 2 years now. We're building that community as we're going along. So yeah, any budding sports people out there or people looking to get into a community or a sports club, we'll certainly be able to help with that.
Awesome, fantastic. And we'll kind of whiz through the last few slides because I'm a little bit conscious of time. But just to let you guys know as well, we do have affiliations with these travel companies, which is great to know that you can get a discount if you were to go overseas. I personally have done a bus about tour, which was super fun. You can get around and see lots of European countries in quite a small amount of time. And if you want to spend some more time in one of the countries, you can always go back. But yeah, if you mention ANZ UK, you get a discount. So well worth knowing. We've touched a little bit already in terms of the compliance and what we're going to need for you to work over there. In terms of what we need to see, we will need to see your qualification. We'll need to see the original qualification. So you can bring that into any one of our offices in Australia. So Brisbane, Melbourne, Geelong, Sydney. You can bring it in and we'll photocopy it. No problems at all. If your university actually lets you use My Equals, we can actually just log on there and see your qualification. So we can do that with no problems. We will ask you to complete the UK child safeguarding training, which is online, and that's pretty straightforward, to be perfectly honest. I'm sure it will be similar to the child safeguarding training that you will have done. So we will get that completed. We will also do a virtual registration with you online in addition to you coming into our office when you arrive. Obviously, that way we can just, when we do the online registration, we can get everything completed, and then when you come into the office, it's really kind of a meet and greet, see the office, say hi to everyone, and just if there's any other paperwork that we need to do, we will get that done. But you'll basically be cleared to work straight away, and when you come into the office, we'll talk about our events and all the fun stuff going on. You will need to be registered with the Education Workforce Council. This is the one that is specific for Wales, isn't it, Clint?
That's right, yeah. The Education Workforce Council, pretty much like a teaching register. So yeah, anybody that works with children on a professional level has to be registered with the EWC in Wales. Good news, over the last 18 months, overseas qualifications are now being recognised in Wales for the first time, again, to go alongside the new Welsh curriculum and inviting more people in from overseas. So, yeah, you will be able to get full QTS as well with the Australian qualifications when you come over to Wales.
That's awesome. Okay, fantastic. And there's a small charge, but that's really not a high charge there to register with the EWC. Which is fab. And then, yeah, just in terms of the visa requirements, so most of the educators that we work with actually head over on the youth mobility visa. So that one gives you 2 years to live and work in the UK. We've got the costs there. So the total cost is £1,184, sort of roughly around. There. Now, if you are lucky enough to get an ancestry visa, that one actually gives you 5 years to live and work in the UK. And you can get one of those if your grandparent or parents were born in the UK and you have access to their birth certificate. We just take immigration will take a copy of that. That one is slightly more expensive, so $4,152. Now there is skilled worker visa. So basically, if you're not eligible for either of those visas, there is an option for sponsorship. Now, notoriously, sponsorship has been quite hard to get, just really because schools actually, you know, have to pay a fee to get a sponsorship license, and they would obviously rather employ somebody that's right in front of them. But things have changed slightly, and we're kind of thinking that it's not, you know, it's not definitely not possible. It's something that we could offer. Would you say, Clint?
Yeah, that's right. As mentioned a few times throughout the presentation, the new Welsh curriculum are really keen to entice more overseas teachers into Wales, and to help with that, more and more schools are looking at taking up the cost of becoming sponsors. It's not going to be an immediate thing, but I think over the next couple of years, those opportunities are going to be greater.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. And we do have, oh yeah, a couple of other things to mention really quickly. The new free trade agreement between Australia and the UK should be increasing the youth mobility visa to 35 years old. So you've got more time to apply for it, which is great. And then also we do have a visa support service. So if you need any help or advice, or if you would like them to process the visa for you, we can do that. It's $99. And as we said before, you actually get $50 back if you get an ambassador contract with us. So super cheap and well worth it. And then, yeah, just in terms of travel requirements, Mia, did you want to talk us through, you know, one of the main things about heading over to Wales, we'll be traveling. So, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So things, you know what it's like, things with COVID are changing really sort of quickly and on a day-to-day basis. But at the minute, when you come in, when you sort of plan to come into Wales, if you're double vaccinated or not, the rules are slightly different. If you're fully vaccinated, you're pretty much fine. I think you can basically walk in, which is great. But if you aren't, you need proof of a negative PCR test bought from a private test provider through the government UK website 48 hours or closer before the date of your departure. And then you need to book one prior to your arrival in the UK. You need to book an arrival test as well, which will be done at the airport. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the testing requirements at the moment. So isolation and quarantine, sort of red and green list countries, obviously they are still in place, but I think the travel between Australia and the UK at the moment is pretty easy. Just, I mean, if you're looking to travel, as our Canadian friends did this weekend, out to Italy, you obviously need to keep an eye on those countries as well, because they are changing. I think most of them are sort of green in the main body of Europe at the moment, but something to definitely keep an eye on. But we do say, if you're not vaccinated now, is recommended before travel. It just makes the whole thing a lot easier. You can get an international COVID-19 vaccination certificate, and once you're registered with a doctor in the NHS when you get here, it's actually quite an easy process to get them to recognise your overseas thing as well, because I know the boys have done it very recently, and it was sort of a new thing for us because they were the first ones to arrive since the lockdowns and everything like that. So the fact that it was a really easy process for them was quite nice for us to hear. So but yeah, if you get vaccinated, it's easier for international travel, but just confidently research all of the travel requirements for your journeys and you'll be completely fine.
Yeah. Absolutely, and we do always update our blog page as well, so I'm always happy to give advice on the phone, but check our blog page as well for any changes. But thank you for that, Mia, that's fab. And then just really quickly, term dates in Wales, not very dissimilar to the UK. I think you're about a week, sorry, to England, you're about a week out. So I guess the great thing about working in the UK is that, you know, you get a half-term break, and you get a week there, and then there's a 2-week break between terms. Obviously there's 3 terms, so basically you don't go longer than 6 weeks without a holiday, which means there is lots of time for traveling. You've got the summer holidays, which is a 6-week break. So yeah, always lots of time to be able to travel and enjoy the UK or Europe. So yeah, great to be able to teach over in Europe. And then just, yeah, why ANZ UK? So again, this is just some of the stuff. If you haven't checked out our blog, then yeah, do go online and check out our blog. We like to give you lots and lots of information, as much information as we can. We've also got an exceptional talent, which is a LMS system, so that basically provides you with courses and professional development to advance you. There's lots of really good stuff on there, like to do with special needs, to do with acronyms in the classrooms that you might not be aware of. We've got a really good Facebook group as well, so please join that. Lots of our educators chat on there. I know there's a lot of private conversations that go on there. People kind of meet up and go out for drinks, and that's really beautiful, especially if you're traveling alone. I think the main thing for us is to be able to offer you a sense of community. I know that when I moved from the UK to Brisbane, ANZ UK really helped me out in terms of having that sense of community. So yeah, and also events. We're going to do events prior to you heading over in Australia, and then when you get there, you'll be invited to our events. We do a really good event in London as well, which you could travel to. We've had, in some years, we've had upwards of 100 educators at some of those events, so those are super cool. And as I mentioned before, you know, it's 360, so when you want to come back to Oz, we've got a consultant that can help you with your journey back to Australia as well. So just kind of like some final thoughts. Yeah, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Mia is in charge of our Welsh Instagram account, and there's some really cool stuff on there. I know you've done great posts, which are really cool to see. So yeah, please sign up for that. We also have a referral bonus. So like I said before, if you do have any friends, even if they're not teachers, but they're interested in any of the other work that we offer, then let us know about them. We can kind of, you know, process you guys together, so to speak. And once they have worked for 10 days, they actually get a $150, you would get, sorry, a $150 bonus. So well worth it. And yeah, for everybody, I will email through this presentation so you can have a read through of it. And I will give everybody a call as well. We can talk on the phone and go from there.